The measure of the supplement of an angle is 20 degrees more than 3 times the measure of the original angle. Find the measures of the angles. So we're going to have two different angles. We're going to have the original angle measure, and we're going to have the supplement. Angle measure. Now the question is, how do we identify this? So we're not going to have two different variables. We're going to have one variable and another variable that is affected by that. So when we look at the problem, it says the measure of the supplement of an angle is 20 more than 3 times the measure of the original. So that means the original is just itself. Now remember, when you're picking variables, you don't want to pick O or I. Any other variable is free game. So the supplement angle is going to be affected by A, and it is 20 degrees more than 3 times the measure of the original angle. So remember, 3 times is going to be multiplied, whereas 20 degrees more than is addition. So we have A and 3A plus 20. Now we have to remember what supplement means. So back in your geometry skills, we would know that supplement means that it is 2 angles added together to get 180. So therefore, I'm going to add my 2 angles together and set it equal to 180. From here, then we're going to solve. So we have A plus 3A plus 20 plus 180. So first I'm going to combine like terms. I'm going to subtract the 20 to get 160. And then when we divide by 4, A equals 40. So we know that the original angle measure is 40 degrees. Now, how do we figure out what the supplement angle measure is? Well, there's a couple different ways. You could either substitute 40 in for A and get 140, or you can have 180 subtract 40 to get 140 degrees. Okay, and that would be my answer. Next we have number 9. So for number 9, we are trying to find 4 consecutive odd integers with a sum of 184. Now, when we think of consecutive means in a row, but we want them to be odd. So an example would be 3, 5, 7, and 9. These are 4 consecutive odd integers. However, they do not have a sum of 184. So we have to figure out, how can we represent 4 different consecutive odd integers? Well, if we think of the first one as a variable, like x, how can I get from x, which we're saying is 3, to 5? Well, in order to do that, I would have to add 2. how would I get to 7? Now, we want to think back to the original because I don't want to, so we have x plus 2. Well, in order to get to this one, I would have to do x plus 4. And then last but not least, to get to this one, I would have to do x plus 6. So although they're odd, I am adding 2, 4, and 6 because odd numbers are 2 apart. So therefore, x is going to represent my first consecutive odd integer. X plus 2 will be my second consecutive odd integer. X plus 4 will be my third consecutive. And x plus 6 will be my fourth consecutive odd integer. Now, how do we put it all together? Well, we're going to add each part separately. And it all equals 184. So now down with part C, we are going to combine like terms. So I don't really need the parentheses anymore. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. And I have 2, 4, and 6, which makes 12 for my constants. Then we're going to subtract 12. Which you don't necessarily need to write. And we get 172. And when you divide by 4, you get 43. So we know that the first consecutive odd integer is 43. From here, we need to figure out each of the remaining odd integers. Well, when we go back to our scenarios up here, we have x plus 2. So 43 plus 2 would be 45. X plus 4 would be 47. And x plus 6 would be 49. Okay. Last but not least, we have two planes leave at the same time. One flies east and the other flies west at twice the speed. After 3 hours, they are 2,700 miles apart. How fast was each plane going? So when we're identifying our variables, we are trying to figure out how fast each plane is going. We have an eastbound plane and a westbound plane. Let's first talk about how we find distance. So distance is found by multiplying your rate to the time it took you to travel. Or in other words, D equals RT. So we're trying to find the rate. We know how much time they spent, and we know how far they went. We need to figure out the rate in which they went. So I'm going to say R is the rate of the eastbound plane. Now, the rate of the westbound plane is twice the speed, so therefore 2R. Okay. So, when we incorporate this into the distance, we have two different planes and totaling 2,700 miles. So the first plane, its distance would be calculated with its rate, which is R, and its time, which is 3 hours. So 3R. And we're going to add that together with the westbound distance, which would be a rate of 2R and a time of 3. So we're going to multiply 3 times 2R and equal 2,700. So when we combine like terms or distribute, we get 3R plus 6R, which then combining like terms gets 9R. And when you divide by 9, you get a rate of 300. So therefore, my eastbound plane is going 300 miles per hour, and my westbound plane is going 600 miles per hour.